My name is Colleen, and this is my kitchen. I've struggled with my weight my entire life. After trying every diet in the book without any success, I came to the realization that diets don't work. I started my journey at a size 26W, weighing just over 300 pounds. In almost a year and a half, I've lost over 120 pounds, and I am a size 14. No W. What's my secret? Eating healthy and moving more. Now I'm here to show you how you can cook healthy food without compromising on taste and lose weight just like I have. Because if I can do it, you can too.
Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Tonight we are going to be firing up the grill and doing some barbecuing outside. And I have a great recipe for you tonight. We're going to be doing a chili mint chicken skewers, and I'm going to couple that with saffron rice with roasted vegetables. It's going to be really good and really good for you. Now the first thing for the chili mint chicken skewers is I'm going to go ahead and chop up some mint, and I have about 5 sprigs of mint here, fresh mint. And what I like to do is take the leaves off before I chop it up, and that's because it will get very woody. The stems can be very woody. Now once I chop this up, I'll have roughly 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh mint. So once I've chopped up my mint, then I'm going to add 1 clove of garlic to that. Then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm using 2 tablespoons of a Zinfandel vinegar. You could use a good quality red wine vinegar for this. Just make sure it's not your store brand. Get something that's a good quality. Now let's add just a pinch of coarse sea salt. I'm just using a 1/4 teaspoon here. And then I have here an adobo chili pepper, or a chipotle chili pepper, but you will see it called chili peppers in adobo sauce. They come in a nice can in the Hispanic foods aisle. And I'm just going to take 1 pepper here and dice it up. And then lastly, just to put a little more liquid into the marinade, I have 2 tablespoons of water that I'm just going to add into that. And let's whisk that up. And let's get our chicken. I have in here 1 pound of chicken. It's equal to about 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I'm using actually chicken breast tenderloins because that way I don't have to dice them up or anything. I just put 3 chicken tenderloins on each skewer, make a total of 4 skewers. So let's add that marinade right in there. And mix that up well, make sure your chicken gets completely covered. Okay, so now I'm going to let this sit for about 20 minutes. While that's sitting, let's get started on our vegetables that we're going to roast. For our roasted vegetables, I'm preheating my oven to 425. And first thing is I have 2 zucchini here, small zucchini, and I'm going to just trim the ends off. Have it lengthwise, and then chop it into decent sized wedges, just like that. And let's go ahead and put these in a mixing bowl. Then I have 1 whole onion here, and let's take off that outside skin. Trim off those edges. And then for the onion, all I'm going to do is cut it in half and then into thirds. So big chunks there. And you'll see in the roasting process, those will cook down quite a bit. Now let's do 2 Roma tomatoes, and I'm just going to take the core out of those. And then I want these, again, to be in fairly large chunks because in that cooking process, they're going to cook down quite a bit. And if they're too small, then that's not a good thing. Now let's chop 1 red bell pepper that I have cleaned out here. And we're going to get it into, again, nice big chunks. Now I'm going to press 3 cloves of garlic right into this vegetable. And you can certainly mince the garlic in. I tell you this just about every time I use my garlic press, but you could mince the garlic in instead of pressing it. I like the garlic press because then I get all the juices and the oils from that garlic instead of losing them on the cutting board. And it's just so much easier than peeling the garlic and chopping it up. Okay, so now let's make up a little bit of marinade to roast the vegetables in. First, we need a little bit of oil to keep everything from sticking and to give it a nice golden color. So I've got a tablespoon of olive oil here. And then to mimic the flavor of the marinade, one of the flavors in the marinade, I've got that same Zinfandel vinegar, and I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of that. Let's go ahead and use a teaspoon of dried rosemary. Now you could certainly use fresh rosemary for this. I just didn't have any on hand. I've just moved and tried to transplant my rosemary bush with me, and unfortunately it died, so I had to plant a brand new one, and it's still a little small to harvest anything from. So that's 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary. Let's use a pinch of salt, about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, coarse sea salt. Then a good crank of freshly ground black pepper. And I like the freshly ground pepper because, again, you get all the nice oils from that, whereas if you use the pepper that's already ground, it's missing a lot of that. It's not quite as flavorful. Let's whisk that up. And let's pour it right over our vegetables. Give that a good toss. Make sure everything gets coated up. And now I have a baking sheet back here that I coated with some nonstick spray. So I'm going to spread this out on my baking sheet, make sure I get everything out of that bowl. Let's put that into a single layer. Now I'm going to cook that at 425 for 30 minutes until everything is nice and golden and roasted. And I want to give it a good toss once or twice during the cooking process just to make sure that everything gets evenly browned. I have 1.5 cups of water that I brought to a boil with 1 teaspoon of olive oil in it, and I'm going to add 3/4 cup of a quick cooking brown rice. And then I have a pinch of saffron. Saffron is very potent. You only need a small amount. And so I'm using about 1/4 teaspoon of saffron threads. And I'm just going to stir that in there. And reduce my heat to a simmer. And now I'm going to cover and cook this for 15 minutes. Now you can use a longer grain brown rice, which takes longer to cook. I'm very impatient though. I like my stuff to cook faster, so this cooks in about 15 minutes. While our rice is cooking, let's go ahead and start threading up our chicken skewers. As I said in the beginning, I'm using a pound of chicken, and they are boneless, skinless chicken breast tenderloins. And so I am going to use 3 on each skewer. I'm making a total of 4 skewers. This recipe will serve 4. Just like that. Just thread them through. Now that I have these threaded up, I'm going to go put them on my grill. I'm going to be using a propane grill, and I'm going to cook them for about 3 minutes on each side, basting them with the marinade during the process. And so I will see you back here in a few minutes. Our chicken skewers have cooked up beautifully here. And so just to finish this up, I'm going to use 2 more sprigs of mint. And let's chop that up. Then we're going to take that mint and just sprinkle it right over the top, just for a little garnish there, a little extra mintiness. Now, let's get our rice and vegetables together. Our rice is cooked up, our vegetables have roasted up really, really nicely here. So now what I'm going to do is just put the vegetables right into that rice. I'm going to give that a good stir. And let's just turn this saffron rice with the roasted vegetables, turn that out into a nice bowl here for serving it up. And there we go. So we have a nice dinner of chili mint chicken skewers, saffron rice with roasted vegetables. I'm going to call the family in for dinner, and I hope that you give this a try, and see you next time here in my kitchen.